My fork hovered halfway to my mouth, sweet potato casserole trembling on it, when my father looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're nothing but a leech. It's time for you to leave this house." Silence crashed down around the Thanksgiving table. My mother wouldn't even meet my eyes. My sister stared at her glass. And me. I sat there realizing, after months of paying their bills, buying their groceries, and covering my mom's medical appointments, I was never family to them. I was just a walking wallet. But what they didn't know was that their little plan was about to blow up in their faces. Thanksgiving Day. The table was covered in food I cooked: turkey, potatoes, 3 different pies. Steam rose from plates I paid for with my own money. And yet my father, Frank, looked at me like I was dirt. It wasn't just the insult. It was the timing. 20 minutes earlier, I had proudly told them I'd been promoted at work. 20 minutes. And in that short time, I went from successful daughter to worthless leech. I stared at my plate, trying to steady my breathing. My mom, Denise, busied herself rearranging green beans she wouldn't eat. My 17-year-old sister, Tessa, looked like she wanted to disappear. No one defended me. And then came the final blow: "You need to be out by the weekend." My hands shook, but not with fear, with clarity. I put down my fork, folded my napkin, and said 3 words that made him blink in shock: "I understand perfectly." Because I did. For 3 months, I had been paying for everything: utilities, groceries, Mom's medical bills. My name was on the accounts, not his. I had drained my savings to keep this family afloat, and all the while, he simmered with resentment because I had become the provider. That night, unable to sleep, I packed quietly. But when I reached for my financial papers, I found something else: a hidden bank account. Frank's. With thousands of dollars tucked away. His balance grew each month while mine withered. And tucked beside it, a boat dealer's brochure with "Deposit after Thanksgiving" written in his handwriting. That's when it clicked. They wanted me to cover November's bills before kicking me out. They wanted me broke so Frank could play captain on his shiny fishing boat. The next morning, Tessa slipped into my room. She saw the boxes. "You're really leaving," she whispered. Then, almost guiltily, she confessed, Mom's doctor visits weren't medical, they were for lip fillers. My insurance had been paying for cosmetic procedures. I wanted to scream. But instead, I showed Tessa my bank account. Barely $700 left from the $9,000 I'd saved before stepping in to help them. At that moment, my anger hardened into resolve. I wouldn't just leave. I would untangle every financial chain they had wrapped around me. Over the next 3 days, I quietly shut down their lifelines. I canceled automatic payments, took my name off utilities, removed myself from their insurance and phone plans. Each call felt like cutting through invisible shackles. But my parents weren't about to let me go without a fight. They spread lies through the family. My aunt called, furious that I'd abandoned them. My mom called, sobbing when the power was cut off. My dad even tried hacking into my bank account, and then he showed up at the apartment I was staying at, pounding on the door so hard it splintered, shouting for me to open up. He threatened, he kicked, he screamed, until building security and the police hauled him away in handcuffs. That was the turning point, because with the police involved, I finally had leverage. I pressed charges. I filed for a restraining order. And when I discovered my mom had pawned my laptop and camera, the ones I'd bought with my own money, I filed a theft report too. The pawn shop handed them right back once police got involved. Piece by piece, the facade of their control crumbled. Neighbors gossiped. Relatives stopped believing their lies after seeing Frank arrested for breaking down my door. And when I returned with a police escort to collect my things, my mother's protests about family property collapsed the second I held up receipts with my name on them. Even the car keys my dad tried to snatch had to be pried from his hand by an officer, because the title was in my name, not his. For the first time in my life, I saw my father shrink. The man who once towered over me looked small, powerless. They thought they could strip me of everything, but in the end, I walked away with my property returned, a restraining order in motion, and their financial house of cards collapsing without me to hold it up. Meanwhile, their lies unraveled in public, their reputations shredded by their own actions. The sweet taste of justice was better than any Thanksgiving dinner. Looking back, I realized something. Family isn't defined by blood, it's defined by respect, love, and boundaries. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply refusing to be their victim anymore.